Welcome to the Mostly All Figured Out podcast with your host, Emily Rose. Regardless of the career field, the lifestyle, everyone is mostly figuring it all out. This podcast is where we pull back the veil of perfection and share true stories, experiences, encouragement, and of course failures, detailing how people just like you are making it all happen, despite the uncertainty, the fear, the imposter syndrome, the setbacks, the shame, whatever it is. If you believe there is more for you than what your life looks like right now, you're in the right place. Let's figure out our next steps together. Now let's get into the episode. Welcome back to the Mostly All Figured Out podcast. This is your host, Emily Rose, and I'm here with a short and sweet episode today. I am trying to stay true to my goals for the year, and that is to stick with my weekly episodes and to do every other week a interview and a solo episode. So today is a solo episode. Last week I had my sister Elizabeth Grace Marciniak on the podcast. It was a Valentine's Day episode. It was mostly ridiculous. So if you want some laughs, go ahead and listen to that. If you want to hear about some of my dating history, mostly Elizabeth's wild dating history, we're very different people. It's really incredible how two people, well, there's a lot of us. There's 9 of us all together. I have 8 younger siblings, and Lizzie and I are the 2 oldest. I'm the oldest. It's amazing how we all have the way that we live our lives is just very different and very similar at the same time. Anyways, the point is that our dating experiences are tremendously different and it's interesting. So that one, I do recommend that you listen to that when you maybe have a drink yourself and you're just chilling out, or if you just want to chuckle while you're cleaning or something. Anyway, today I want to talk to you about vision boards. Now, how does that make you feel? You feel cringe? Does it make you cringe? Are you like, I'm not a Pinterest girly, so can't apply to me? Does it make you feel like, what do those actually do? I've made one in the past and then it sat in my closet and I pulled it out and I'm like, what does this lady doing yoga have to do with my life and what my goals are and where? It didn't make me start doing yoga. You're doing it wrong. No, I mean, there's no right or wrong way, but there kind of is wrong ways. So I have made many a vision board in my lifetime, okay? And for a while, I swore them off. I was that person that was like, yeah, it's not doing anything for me. Me going through magazines and cutting out like, be brave and sticking it on my poster board just did not make me be brave or make $1 million or having a savings account minimally or have a savings account. So I did not do them for a while. And then a influencer that I followed, sorry, apparently I can't speak today. An influencer that I have followed over the years convinced me to give them another try. I can't remember what it was specifically. Maybe it wasn't doing the magic, which is the workbook version of The Secret, which is like the Secret is like the Bible of manifesting, basically. I don't know. Not really. There's a lot of books on manifesting, but I feel like it's the one that many of us were introduced to the idea of it through the magic or through The Secret. Anyway, the magic is a 28-day gratitude journey and manifesting practices journey. And one of the days you create a list of 10 desires, and then a few days later, you make a vision board based on those 10 desires. Now, I want to say this. I think that when it comes to manifesting, or if that word creeps you out, and we could just say, achieving your goals, achieving the things that you want to do, to have, whatever. I think it's important to narrow down what it is you're working on. So we all have many goals, right? We all have many things we want to do. We have a certain amount of money we want to make, save, places we want to visit, stuff we want to have, pounds we want to lose or gain. Like so many things, right? That's overwhelming. If I think about all that and I create a vision board with all of those things, like, whatever, my chances of achieving them all is nearly zero, but also my chances of achieving any of them is pretty low. What I have found to be very successful for myself that I would recommend is picking one goal and making a vision board for that one goal. And the proof I have in this concept is in my home. And actually, maybe I will add like some photos or video of my house to show it off, because I'm also actually kind of weird about showing my house off, because I don't know. Like I still feel, I don't feel like I don't deserve it, but I just am like I'm so shocked that I live here. I really am, because it's everything I've ever wanted. I love it so much. So the way I use vision boards to manifest this house, to getting this house, which is a rental. I rent this place. I had a very particular vision in mind when I was thinking about what I wanted my new home to look like. And the biggest thing for me always is I want it to be cozy. I'm going to need it to be cozy. And my boys really wanted something that had a multiple floor situation, I think, because for them that feels like a home, which is interesting because Jaxie, my 9-year-old, we didn't always live in a 2-story home. We lived in an apartment until he was 4. Yeah, like 4 or 4.5. So, that wasn't always the case, but for whatever reason, he now associates like home with 2 floors. And he made that very clear to me. And so then it became my mission to make that happen, because both of my boys, it was rough for a while. It was challenging, right? It always is with divorce and all of that. And so that was really important to me. And there was a number of other things. Like I really wanted to have 4 bedrooms, because I wanted both my boys to have their own bedroom and I wanted to have an office. Boom. I really needed a fenced-in yard because we have a dog. I needed them to be okay with having dogs. I wanted to be in a particular neighborhood. I wanted to have a big front porch in this particular neighborhood. I have always loved the idea of an open concept situation. I love the idea of having a carpeted upstairs. There was a bunch of things that are quite bougie when I think about it. And that's why I think I sometimes am like, what am I doing here? Like, but like, no, I do deserve this. We all deserve it. Everyone deserves their own version of this. So anyway, I looked at a bunch of apartments. I have told this story before, so I won't go through all the details, but long story short, I saw an apartment that was a single family home. It checked all the boxes and then some. It was amazing, this house. It was so amazing. It wasn't in the exact neighborhood I wanted to be in, but it was in one that I would still love to live in. So that was okay. But it was incredible. It was tremendously out of my budget. And so I said to myself, if they are open to taking $800 off the rent, then it's for me. If not, that's okay. They were not. That's okay. But I was like, cool. This just gave me an idea. I've seen so many things that I don't want. This has now shown me what I do want. I want my version of this. And so I took pictures from the listing of that home and put them on actually I think I did this before I heard back from them about the rent. I put it on like a 8.5 by 11 in a grid with like a few of the images, and I wrote this or something better. And I had that on my lock screen on my phone. I printed it out, had it on my little board here that's behind me. So I would see it at work. I think I had it on my desktop background on my computer. So I had it everywhere, and it was within a month. There were some other things I did, but it was within a month that I found this place, and it ticks all the boxes. I can afford the rent. It's in the exact neighborhood that I wanted to be in. It's everything. It's amazing. But I think that the things that make vision boards successful are, number one, if you can focus on one thing. If there's, and I know it can be hard to prioritize. Like, that is always a struggle for me. I have so many goals. I have so many things I want to do. So it's like, how do I just pick one? I have to be working on all of these at the same time. And some of them are responsibilities, right? I still got to take care of my children. I still have to do my client work. I still have to grow my business so that I can continue to make money. I want to do this podcast. So that's important. Consistency is important, especially if I want to eventually make money from it. I got to consistently post. I need to take care of my health. Like, there's so many responsibilities and there's so many goals for each of those things that I have. So at some point, I can't remember who it was that said this, but the idea of like, okay, picking of all those things, which of the things, if I focus 100%, or as much, you're never going to be able to focus 100% on one thing. You still have to do pieces of all those other things. But if I focus all of my extra energy that I have on this one thing, what is that thing that will have the greatest impact on all the other things? Like, if I get this, it will also affect how I'm able to get all the other things, right? And so it was easy for me to pick the apartment and looking for my apartment because, number one, I had a deadline, right? Like, we were selling the house, so I was going to have nowhere to live. So I had to find a place to live. And number two, like, your environment is everything. If I knew that if I was living in a place that wasn't what I was looking for, where I somehow compromised my desires and my wants and needs for the sake of just getting a place, that it would affect me emotionally. It would affect how I worked. It would affect how I parented. It would affect the boys if they weren't comfortable. Like, it would affect all of these other things. So I was like, all right, this is the one right now that it's going to tick all the boxes. It's going to hit all the things. So it's easy for me to focus on. So that is the number one thing that I recommend. If you can pick one thing, what is the one thing that's going to have the greatest impact for you right now? And have your vision board be entirely focused on that one thing. And then when you achieve it, when you get it, pick a new one. Pick a new one thing. Second thing is, I think sometimes we get confused about what vision boards are meant to do. And I think the idea, it's in the name, right? Vision. You're supposed to visualize your life with this thing or things already in it. You're meant to visualize it and to feel it. So every time you look at that vision board, you should feel like you're 15 pounds lighter, if that's what you're trying to manifest, a healthier lifestyle, right? You should feel like you are living in the apartment that you are trying to manifest. You're already there, and that feels amazing. You should feel like you have X amount of dollars in your savings account that didn't exist before, and all your bills are paid and your debt is paid off, right? You should feel all these things. And so sometimes I think we feel like the vision boards are supposed to look a certain way. And especially if you're working mainly for magazines, like, the options are so limited, right? You don't even need to print it. You don't even need to do like a physical one with like tape and glue anymore. You could just make it in Canva, like set up a grid with 5 things and find images off the internet that are really specific and specialized. But that is the thing that I would suggest. What are images or words or even videos? Like, I've heard of people doing vision board videos that are going to make you feel the way that you would feel if you had that thing. And some of the things that have done that for me is I will admit that I have like a general 2025 vision board that I created. I think it's good. That is more of like the vibe that I'm trying to bring into the year and like my big up high goals for the entire year. I did that first. I'm going to next do like, what is the thing that I'm focusing on now? What is the thing that I'm focusing on now? What am I focusing on? We'll get there. But I do recommend finding photos of yourself that make you feel that. Anywhere where you can insert yourself into the thing that you're trying to do is even better. It's like doing the visualization for you, right? So one of my 2025 goals always, right, is to have a more consistent fitness workout routine, to be more conscious of how the boys and I are eating. I have big goals to like, I'm trying to teach them both how to cook, and like I want Jax to cook by the end of the year, cook a meal by the end of the year. But I have a picture of myself from my 29th birthday, which was 5.5 years ago. I'm 35. I'm going to be 36 in October. 6.5. My God. So anyways, she looks good. She looks fit. That was probably my healthiest time, was 20. When was that? 2019? I'll be 36. No, 2018. Yeah, 2018. So she was doing great. 2018 was a good year for her. But she looks fucking awesome. And I'm like, yeah, I lived that. I had that. And so it's easy for me to visualize it because it's there. Or like, I have dreams for the podcast and wanting to grow the podcast. So I have a picture of me interviewing one of my guests that really inspired me, Ellie, my friend now, Ellie. And I'm trying to manifest like eventually doing a second podcast with her in person, and she's in Chicago. So like, things, but seeing that, like I can imagine it. When I look at this clip from our episode that's up on my board, I can imagine the two of us like sitting on a couch with our microphones, like in a cool studio in Chicago, and like talking more about like what's changed since the last time we, and that I actually really feel very confident that that's going to happen. Like, mark my words, Ellie Banky and I are going to be in real life together, probably in Chicago. Who knows? Maybe somewhere else in the US, maybe New York, maybe anywhere. I don't know. And I'm going to have her on the podcast again. You should listen to her episode, by the way. It was maybe 65, 64. It's a couple episodes back. She's an incredible vocalist. So use pictures of yourself. Use images that make you feel like you're there, that set the scene, right? So I am planning a launch party for my brand new business in early April 11th. Mark your calendars. I have no other details yet. And I know what I want the vibe to be like. I have this image in my head that always pops up of like little not martini glasses, like the little round champagne glasses that are like, I just have like images of people like dressed up in cocktail dresses and like holding those and like cheersing, and that's what I want it to feel like. Like, and so I can imagine that, and I can feel it, and I can feel excited for like the launch of that business and all of the work that me and Sierra and my friend Sam on the website and like everyone is coming together to help me birth this new version of the business. And like, I want it to be a filled room and raise money for good causes in the name of my friends who I've lost. And like, I'm just so excited about it, and I can vision it. And when I see this image, the couple of images that I put up, one is like of those little glasses, like 3 of them and hands holding them, cheersing together. And above that is an image of me at an event with a clipboard that I really like, that my awesome photographer, Paul Fanara, shout out, that I use for a lot of my events, he took of me when I was working one of my events. And like, that's, it just makes me feel that. So I challenge you to not throw away the idea of vision boards completely if it is something that you have done, and to potentially reconsider how you do them. Number 1, think about focusing on one specific goal and having your entire board be around that. It doesn't have to be a million photos. It could be 5. It could be 5 things. Because number 2, the point is that the vision board should make you feel, when you look at it, like you already have it. Not upset or disappointed or anxious or like, oh, that'd be cool to have one day. But like, yeah, I got it. I got it. That's mine. I'm coming for it. I don't know how I'm going to get there necessarily, but I'm going to get that, and it's going to feel amazing and sitting in that feeling. That's all I got for y'all today. Thank you for listening to my little mini vision board rant. I hope this was helpful. And, you guys, I just got off an interview with a really amazing person, and it was such a good conversation, and I cannot wait to share it next week, Friday. So you're really in for a treat with this one, especially if you're finding yourself in a transitional period of your life, potentially maybe considering a career change, or, considering whether you should spend time on a creative project that's been kind of sitting in the back of your head, you've been thinking about for a while. This woman is amazing. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. And I'll leave you at that. Thanks so much for listening. Share if you like it. Follow me on Instagram. See you in a week. Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, there's a few things you can do to really help your girl out. Please subscribe, rate the podcast, give me a little review. All those things really do help me in a lot of ways. And this year, I'm really trying to expand my reach. I'm trying to get this podcast in front of more people who might need it. My people, our people. So let's keep growing this beautiful community of nice people who are just trying to be their best selves. So if you know someone who might like it, please send them the link. Share it in your stories, tag us, which is another thing you can do, actually. If you're not already, please follow us on Instagram at mostlyallfiguredout. I've actually been very good about posting new episodes every Friday, so you can see who is up. You can get some little previews, sneak previews with some sound bites that we post throughout the week. And it really helps, again, in expanding our reach a little bit and getting us out there in front of more people. So thank you for doing that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting. Love ya.